Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Trinidad and Tobago Film Festival 2020 industry event. Thank you so much for joining us. This year, our full program will be screened online until September 15th with our new media exhibition installed at Medulla Art Gallery in Woodbrook, Port of Spain. If you are joining us on Facebook Live, please feel free to post all your questions in the comment section below and we'll address them during this session. Don't forget that you can check out our full film listing and pay for film bundles, like the pink bundle, which is screening today, which has these fabulous filmmakers films in them. And you can find all of the bundles online. It's online.ttfilmfestival.com. We'd like to thank our ttff 20 sponsors and partners who have given sponsorship to this year's festival. Our leading sponsor is the Ministry of Tourism, Culture and the Arts. And our contributing sponsorship is by Republic Bank Limited, with Shell Trinidad and Tobago Limited supporting our online industry events. So I'm Kafi Kareem. I am the founder of Storyplay TV, a Trinidad and Tobago company taking Caribbean video entertainment to families worldwide. And I am here with Alain Bidard, who is one of the most, or if not the most foremost animation director and producer in the Caribbean. I am here with Juliette McCawley, whose reputation precedes her as a producer and director. I am here with Reyda Gay, who has a fantastic comedic film that had me laughing and rolling on the ground. And it's screening in the pink bundle that you can find online today. So Reyda Gay, Juliette McCawley, and Alain Bidard, thank you so much for joining us today. I first want to take a moment to congratulate you on having done really fantastic films. I really enjoyed the screenings today, and it's an accomplishment. As a filmmaker myself, I know how hard it is. So first of all, congratulations for having done it. Let's kick it off with you, Alain, if you don't mind. Right? So we screened Reflexion today, right? Reflexion. And this was a film that I know that you produced in quarantine. All of us have been at home trying to avoid social contact. And what happens in this film is we see a couple talking, right? And then at the end of it, we realize that, wait, hold on. It was one person looking in a mirror. Dun, dun, dun. Talk to me about this film. Was it a statement on isolation? Was it a statement on the need of human companionship? What was it about?
Yes, I think that during this quarantine, there was a redefinition of the other, and a lot of people found themselves more lonely than they were before, because we spent so much time working and doing this and that in this kind of routine that we don't really. We are surrounded by a lot of people, but we don't really have connection. And even with our family, during this quarantine, a lot of family realized that they were much more disconnected than they thought. And I wanted to talk about this because a lot of people also felt depression because of that, because they were alone. And Reflexion is about that. And it's also about the fact that during this quarantine, we found ourselves, we found ourselves in front of our image, in front of our identity. And for quite a certain number of people, we didn't like to face ourselves this way. And in the film, that's what I'm telling about. This man is facing himself, and it's all dream and fantasy, and finally realize that, well, he's more alone than he saw.
Yes, you packed so many interesting themes into such a short, which is, I think, one of your fortes as a filmmaker, right? You can explore a lot of really interesting and heavy themes in animation, and in entertaining animation in a narrative film, right? So as you mentioned, we have the theme of somebody being alone, and it's really a really good commentary on how crazy isolation can make you feel.
Exactly.
Right? So I think you did a great job there. Let's talk to you, Reyda, about your film, which is Pure Service. So Pure Service sees some bacchanal in a store, right? Where you have a customer who is very dissatisfied. And then we have a clerk or a cashier who is doing her best to give customer service. Was this inspired by a true life hell customer service experience that you had?
I won't say not me in particular, but it is a universal sometimes feelings. It's sometimes we are the customer, and at sometimes maybe we're the one dealing with the customer, and sometimes we're wrong and strong.
Mm-hmm.
And
guilty.
So what the film really just explores like the thought processes on opposite sides of the service counter, and really exploring, well, customer service, pure bacchanal. So it's sometimes what a clerk who may be going through what they wish would happen, and then for a customer who is adamant that what they're coming into this store for is the right thing, and the customer is always right, is that pretense that we have, especially in territories which are like dependent on like tourism, and service is a smile no matter what. So at what point does that crack?
Yes, that cashier. That cashier was so hilarious because she really tried her best to keep it all together, to keep that smile on her face. And you broke the fourth wall. So the audience was able to hear what she was actually thinking. And I feel like everybody's been there. You know what I mean? So you did a fantastic job with that. Congrats again.
Thank you.
Juliette. Oh, sorry, Reyda. Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say that the cashier was actually played by Charlene Haynes.
Charlene Haynes.
Yeah.
Charlene, you did a fantastic job. Big up Charlene Haynes. She's gonna be a star. We already know it. Juliette, let's talk about I Don't Call It Ghetto. So this film presented a wonderful and warm portrait of a police officer who lives in Harlem, and she described Harlem as center to Gonzales, and she said it's close to Oxford Street. She kind of described where she lives. And it's a hotspot area, but she's very firm about, she doesn't call it the ghetto because the ghetto is in people's minds, and it's a mentality, and her life is dedicated to making her neighborhood and Trinidad and Tobago a safer place as a policewoman. So what was the intention of this film?
Pretty much exactly that, sort of telling the story of this very strong woman who grew up under some very difficult circumstances. Her mother died when she was a teenager. She lost her younger brother to gang warfare. I mean, everything, her life could have gone a very different way, but she knew that she needed to make a difference. She wanted to sort of take a stand and just do things to lift her community. And this film is about sort of capturing her story, like, authentically, and letting her explain like how she came to be and the work that she's trying to do every day.
Yeah, that definitely came across, that that the intention was to definitely paint a portrait of a hero who wanted her to do her best to make her community better. And I think you did that very successfully. So well done.
Thank you. It was more, it was because it was done, directed by and edited by Michael Gallofrey, who is really talented. So we've got to work together,
Oh, great.
And help, shape the story. And yeah.
And so you were the writer of the film.
I was a writer. I did the interviews with her. I helped, produce and, organize all of the different meetings that had the different people, because we wanted to make sure we covered like her past, her present, her future. So my job was sort of like getting those pieces in line so that we could capture that.
And just in case anybody hasn't seen it yet and they want to check it out, this one is a documentary, correct?
Yes.
Not a docufiction, documentary.
Yeah, documentary.
All right. So Alain, let's talk about Reflection again. So you are a one-man show. If anybody knows anything about Alain's work, or if you're meeting it for the first time and you look at the credits, you'll be like, but this man do everything. It's the post-production, it's the animation. Did you do music as well in this one? Some
Yes.
of it? Okay, so talk to us about your process. Talk to us about what it's like to take that approach where you have so much authorship over your process.
The basis, the first reason why I'm taking this route is because there's a problem with the funding here in Martinique. Exactly. So the funding depends on the content, and the content is supposed to be quote universal, but mostly European, and Martinique is seen as an exotic place, so it creates a difficult situation for the funding. So very early in any director's career in Martinique, you have to wear a lot of hats and do a lot of things. And for myself, I found myself in the position where people did not believe that animation was possible in Martinique. So it was really difficult to bring projects, and I had to become this one-man director, one-man show, to be able to create those films. And lately, 5 years, in the last 5 years, there has been a bit of change, so that's great. But I had to do all this work, and I got used to it. So it's mostly about creating the script, making the animation, creating the character, editing, compositing. Each of those things is supposed to be done by someone who is a specialist, but here it's not possible. So you have to do this by yourself.
So you're an entire animation studio.
Yes, yes, yes. That
sounds
is,
about right.
And that's the reason why I could develop a bit of the animation industry in Martinique, because in Martinique you have to love this one-man thing to be able to create animation, because
to get it done.
Nothing happened if you don't.
But that's great, because as you said, people maybe before you didn't think that it was possible, and you showed them that it is. So that's fantastic. That's pioneering. Well done. Well done. Juliette, so who funded the film that you did?
This was an initiative from the Citizen Security Program, which is part of the Ministry of National Security. And this particular body, they do a lot of work in the community. So it was actually part of a series we did, another documentary on domestic abuse, another one on a gang leader. And so this is sort of like a third in a trilogy. And there was just so much story. There was like so much. So even though it was just supposed to be like short episodes, McCawley decided, you know what, let's make a feature film out of this, because she has such a wonderful story to tell and gave us such access to her life. So yeah, we got a chance to tell a story in a bigger format.
That's fantastic. What do you think the agenda of the Ministry of Security was when they asked you to prepare this film?
Well, I know in a lot of the neighborhoods, like where Anika is from, there is a lot of mistrust of the police. And the whole idea was to sort of show the person behind the badge, you know, the human side of it. She's not perfect. She doesn't try to be perfect. Came out of a very tough circumstances, but it sort of shows, you know, like it doesn't matter what happens to you, you can still, you know, become a good person, a person who can make a difference in the world. And she just was such a fantastic example of that. So that was really why they wanted us to do this project.
Oh, that's fantastic. Reyda, talk to me about the dialogue in Pure Service. So there was all this really rich comedic dialogue. At one time the customer was like, you know, give me back my so-and-so. And like, it was really like really rich and authentic. Was all of it scripted or was there some improv in there?
Okay, so let me start by saying that this short piece was originally a stage production.
I thought so. It seemed like a play.
Yeah, because it was written by Adrian Green, like a very good spoken word artist here in Barbados, and it was performed in I believe it was 2013 for NIFCA. And Charlene and Neil, the two actors, they actually performed it then. So what we did, that was years ago. So what we did for this one is we took the bones of the stage production and then we said, okay, how can we adapt this to film? And we wanted the dialogue to be authentically Barbadian, authentically Bajan, and we had one rehearsal because there was zero budget. This project this project was really Charlie, Neil, and we just came together and said we haven't been creative in terms of creating like a fictional piece in so long, and you know, that itch to do it was just there for all three of us at the same time. So we pooled together whatever resources we could beg, borrow, or bring, and then and then we just had one rehearsal. The dialogue that you're seeing is just the pure chemistry between Charlie and Neil that they've kept for years on. So we had one rehearsal where we ran it through a few times and then it was time to film.
Magic.
Yes.
Wow. Well, Neil and Charlene both. We gave Charlene her credits already, right? Now we have to pick up Neil because, I mean, he really did a great job. So you did a great job of casting. Did you lead the casting process as well? Well, no, you said they were in the play and you just pulled them for the adaptation. So there was no formal casting process.
No, they pulled me.
Oh, they pulled you for the adaptation.
Yes.
So they're the producers.
they had the idea because originally, you know, still in the frame of mind of theatrical actors, they were let's do this, and they were thinking maybe we should just do it in a box or just do it in a somewhere. It was just like, no, we have to do this properly. And
they probably thought, who's brilliant at film? Reyda. We're gonna call her.
Yeah, that's so they said. So we just came together and made like such a dynamic team. It was awesome.
Yeah, it shows. The chemistry that you guys had shows because it was such a bubbly, fun, and really authentic.
So much laughter on
yeah, so much laughter in my house when I was watching it. People must have wanted to know what was going on. What you watching? I'm watching the Trinidad and Tobago Film Festival. Plug. So Juliette. Let's talk about the subjects that you worked with. There was this interesting scene where you filmed the officers pulling over some people, right? How did the people being pulled over respond to cameras being there?
Wow. Well, I have to say, first of all, it was probably like 1 o'clock in the morning. In a kind of a hot spot in Carenage. So I was feeling nervous, first of all. But McCawley is really good at sort of like just being discreet and being a fly on the wall. And I think the guys were just so overwhelmed with what was going on, you know, with being pulled over and so on. They actually didn't take us on that much. And because, we tried to keep a bit of a distance and not, because we obviously don't want to like interfere with anything that was going on, just let it unfold as it does. But yeah, it was just sort of like by being a fly in the wall, and obviously, he hid their faces, so to keep people's identity secret. But yeah, that was quite a night. It was an overnight patrol. We were there with them for the whole night, going into some areas that were pretty interesting.
I can imagine the excitement.
Yeah.
You have to be brave to do this type of documentary making. You have to be almost as brave as the police officers who put themselves on the line, right?
I guess a little bit. But I actually, you know what? It made me feel really safe in a way, knowing that there are these patrols that are happening at all hours of the night, where they're like people that are out there actually are trying to keep us safe, and we don't know. We have no idea how much work they're actually doing for us. So
fantastic. How do you think the presence of the cameras affected how the police officers pulled over the people and how they behaved in general throughout the film?
Honestly, I felt they didn't do anything different than they would have normally done. I don't think, because again, we tried to keep a bit of a distance and not interfere or interact with them that night as they were doing their thing. So yeah, I would like to think that they would have done the same thing no matter what. I mean, sometimes there were some exchanges, sometimes it got heated, and it was like, yeah, I didn't feel like they were being any way other than how they would have normally been, because they were just about doing their job. They didn't really care we were there or not, is what I felt.
Okay, great. Alain. Back to Reflection. So in Reflection, as well as your other films, Battle, Dream, Chronicle. I got it right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. You have a signature style. Your character design is always similar. You always use a sort of undersaturated color palette. How did this signature style emerge? Just organically?
Kind of, yes, but I always wanted to create animated stories that were talking about very serious theme, and I fell in love with a very specific type of picture that were shown in mostly in the Japanese animation, where you have this very desaturated palette and very realistic characters, and that was something that really spoke to me, because I was capable of entering into the story, and I found it more believable. And so naturally, I wanted to go to this direction, because most of the themes that I present in my films are things that are serious, and more serious than what we are used to seeing in entertainment in animation. So I wanted to let any viewer know when they watch my film that it's going to be about something deeper than what they are used to see.
Yeah. So that's interesting. So you set the dark. I never thought of it that way, but you're absolutely right. Of course you would be, because it's your film, right? That the darker tones kind of prepare us for the fact that this is going to be a heavier type of theme, and even this entertainment experience is going to not be on the light side. It's going to be maybe a little bit heavier than what we think of with cartoons, like you said, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's fascinating. Thank you for sharing that.
Thanks.
Reyda. So you talked a bit about the fact that it was a really small team, and that you guys put it together. You had like one rehearsal. What advice do you have for filmmakers out there who have no budget, They want to do something small. They're inspired by the fact that you had this 2-character film that got into a film festival and like had people laughing, and they want to know like how can I do this? Is there anything that stands out from your production experience that you would say, okay, this is my one takeaway? If you want to do this on a low budget and you just want to get it done, you should do this. Or more than one thing, if you have more than one thing.
So I think the two things that I would say is use what you have and story.
Yes.
Story. So even I found myself at times in a Lockhorn not producing, not creating because I had zero budget. You know, also working a full-time job and not being able to create films as often as I want. And I found some of the excuses that I would use is, oh, you know, I don't have the latest camera right now. Everybody's using 4K, or, you know, I don't have the best of everything. And I think the culmination of us actually deciding to do this is, you know, let's just do it. And all of the resources that we needed just started to come together. Like we begged the shop owner probably like the day before. You know, we reached out to your networks, you know, borrow some audio equipment, use the camera that we had, and just the rehearsal was just to make sure the story was complete and that whatever props that we need to make it more authentic, we could bring from home or source from somebody else and just pull it together. So you need story, and you just need that drive to use what you have, use what you can, whether that is equipment, resources in your network. And yeah, those are two of the things I could think of.
Build it and they will come.
Yes.
Yes. That's really good advice. Thanks for sharing that. So Juliette, in our film, I don't call it Ghetto. What would you say is essential conflict?
Essential conflict is that, well, there's several things, you know, because she's still, you know, even though she's a policewoman and she does love her job and what she does, she's still dealing with, you know, the negative attitudes towards police officers. She's dealing with the fact that she has a teenage son growing up with her in a difficult, you know, neighborhood. So he is sometimes being targeted. And so she worries about him, she worries about his future. And yeah, just it's a constant battle, you know, to convince people to trust her. You see her actually break up a fight with some young teenage boys in her neighborhood. We were going out for a walk, she was showing us her neighborhood. And you know, some of her son's friends get in this really bad fight, and she just goes in there. It was kind of amazing because she was there with her actual boyfriend and some other men around, but she was the only one who went in and like grabbed these two boys and like held them down and gave them quite a lecture. And you know, and you can see like her rage is like, you know, you cannot be part of the problem. You cannot be, you know, don't be a stigma. You have to stop being angry. And so that's what I definitely felt, because as much as she's doing work, there's a frustration of trying to also, you know, deal with the stigma, trying to help lift people's hands, and her frustration that, you know, not everybody can understand what she's trying to do. But bless her, she's a strong woman, and she's still fighting up. She's doing what she can do.
Bless her soul. What's her name?
Onika James Turner.
Onika. So big up, Onika. Keep doing what you're doing, Onika. Thanks for keeping us safe. And thanks for being such an example of what we all should aspire to be.
Absolutely.
So we have no more time. Just have 1 more minute left. Quick. Everybody just tell me, what's your favorite part of the movie making process from conception to the audience seeing your film? Just say the one word that describes the process, your favorite part of the process. Alain.
Animation.
Animation. Reyda. Teamwork. Juliette.
I have a second to teamwork, coming together to tell a story.
Teamwork. All right. Well, thank you for coming together to talk to me about your films. I've had a really good time chatting with you, and I had a really good time looking at the films. I'm sure that everybody who watched at home really enjoyed them too. And anybody who hasn't seen them yet, you'll want to check out the Pink Bundle, because the Pink Bundle have some real best films. You need to go see them. And there's a good range. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Bye.